Machine gun!
What is that? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, I know you like what you see. Welcome guys, Oddie here, and today we have LimXP's ultimate build for Cyte-09. A build that can do pretty much anything without breaking a sweat. Very easy to learn and satisfying to use. Timestamps will be available for all the sections in the description. Before we get into the build, the shards on the build will be 5,000 forged purple shards for a combined 600% electric damage. The shards are not mandatory, but they will be the majority of your damage. If you don't understand something, pause, rewind the video, or ask in the comments. Starting with abilities, Resupply instantly reloads the currently equipped weapon's magazine and you get an additional instance of damage. It also guarantees status effects from the selected element. Resupply drops random elemental ammo by default, but you can select which element drops by holding the ability. After selecting which element you prefer, tapping the ability will drop only the selected element ammo. In this case, we want electric. Careful! Reloading the weapon while buffed by Resupply will clear the elemental damage bonus. The held weapon can only gain one elemental damage bonus at a time. The best subsume options are Nourish, a buffing ability that we use for viral and energy regen, perfect for endurance runs, and Infested Mobility, a movement speed buff ability great for short missions. Both of these subsumes will go in the 4th slot, so we can take advantage of Precision Intensifier. Cyte-09's third ability, Evade, makes him invisible, and getting weak spot kills allows him to prolong that invisibility. This can work with AoE weapons, however, it requires a low ceiling and a faction with an easily accessible weak spot. If neither of those requirements are met, just use this as an oh shit button, since the 60-second cooldown will be too much to handle. You might think without the invisibility you might easily die, however, you'd be mistaken. Since we are spamming our resupply every second, we can easily shield gate, therefore we can be really hard to kill with little to no effort. Before we move on to the explanation on how to use the build, you need to enable a very important setting. This setting allows you to hold on left click and fire semi-automatic weapons continuously and make the build all the more enjoyable without losing your finger. So now that is out of the way, this is how you play the build. Load in, you hold 2, select electric, press 4 to activate your subsume, and then hold down left click and spam your second ability. Going into the Warframe build, we have 2 options depending on the objective. For endurance missions, we take Corrosive Projection in the aura slot. For strength, transient fortitude, and precision intensify, we get high efficiency from streamline and a rank 3 fleeting expertise. Duration from narrow-minded and primed continuity, shields and shield gating immunity duration from catalyzing shields. For energy capacity, primed flow. The arcanes are arcane acceleration and arcane rise. In the Excellus slot, prime sure-footed. For those of you that don't have the primed version of the mod, just take sure-footed and replace prime flow with fortitude, since flow is optional. This Warframe weapon combination is amazing for Exterminate missions. Here is what it would look like if we made the Exterminate version of the build. Most important mod to note here is preparation, so you don't need to pop an energy pad for every Exterminate. A rank 8 preparation is more than enough. This way both these builds fit the same Cyte-09 format setup. If you don't have prime sure-footed, just put in a fortitude in place of any of the mods. Feel free to create your own version of this build. It's highly customizable. Just make sure to keep in mind that exterminates only last 1 to 2 minutes, so focus on short term rather than long term. For the primary, we have a toxic progenitor Kuva Zarr. The toxic base of the weapon combined with the electricity of the shards give us corrosive damage to deal with armor. As some of you may know, your electric DOT scales off 50% of your modded base damage. Like fire and toxin, it also scales off of modded element, in this case modded electric. Because of the way that electric scales, the electric shards are going to multiply the amount of damage that the electric procs do. So in the end, the shards help us get corrosive, and they also multiply your electric DOT procced by your second ability on Cyte-09. This setup has an unfortunate side effect. It will make it very unlikely to proc anything other than corrosive through the weapon. But that's fine, because by the time we get a viral or magnetic proc, the enemy will be long dead. And yes, that includes level cap. Onto the Zarr build. For endurance side, we'd go with crit damage from Vital Sense, crit rate from critical delay, multi-shot gained from galvanized chamber, magazine capacity gained from magnetic capacity, fire rate from Wild Acceleration, blast radius increase with primed Firestorm, status damage from Rifle Elementalist, primary Merciless for additional damage. In the excellent slot, recoil reduction mods like Stabilizer of Wild Precision or Terminal Velocity for projectile speed. And finally, Prime Bane of Orokin. No, this is not a mod that you need to keep replacing. Orokin are more resilient, so in order to take them down more efficiently, we run their Bane mod to deal additional damage specifically to them. And since we have Corrosive, which is 50% more effective against Grineer, we don't have to worry about them at all. All the other factions will get annihilated. An Exterminate build for Zarr would look similar, just replace the Bane mod for Prime Magazine Warp. We don't recommend using any Rivens because the disposition is too low, which means you need to get not only the right stats, but you also need the highest, which makes it extremely rare and expensive. But if you're feeling brave enough, here are the stats we recommend. For the secondary weapon, we just take 2 Augur mods for shield gating, and for the melee, you can take Praetos for the movement speed passive. Any Vulpaphyla will do as long as it has shields. Here is the recommended pet build. Most important mods for the pet build are Tenacious Bond and Reinforced Bond. They are very important for Zarr's performance, so make sure you use them. Calculated Redirection is in the build so that Reinforced Bond works. On the Kavat claws, add Elusive Posture for survivability and Bite to trigger Tenacious Bond. For the Focus School, Mad Rai for Cascade is nice to have, otherwise your pick. Well, this build is a lot of fun. There is a bug. If you're not the host like I was in the recorded footage, you'll get an annoying reload animation here and there, making you take breaks between carnage. To overcome this, stop your firing while using the second ability to avoid it. If you are the host, you won't have any issues. This issue might get fixed by the time this gets released, so make sure to check the comments where we'll be keeping you up to date. Anyways, make sure to keep pressing that resupply button, keep the subsume up, and ring chaos all over the enemies. And that's it! Sub, like, comment, and join the Discord, and tune in to catch Liam live.